Hey everybody, clearing. Okay, so today we're going to dive in with telepathy from the community board. I had a couple of people asking, how can we recognize telepathic connection with our twin? How do we utilize the connection? And does our counterpart experience it on the 5D and the 3D? Okay, so let's see. First off, I want to say that as we become more conscious as humans, that we are remembering our natural telepathic giftings. Telepathy is the metaphysical aspect of communication. You could even say that if you're not aware of body language, pheromones, those kinds of things, that those would read as a telepathic communication. If you're in physical proximity, you're still picking up on those nonverbal cues, and our emotions feed that information to us. Actually, our emotions are one of the most precise instruments to discern, like a barometer of what we are picking up on from others. And those are utilized almost like a sonar, radar, radio at a distance. Across space and time, you don't actually need to be physically present for that aspect to be there. I will often talk about the twins healing karma and understanding breakthroughs on certain levels, and that being fed into the collective consciousness as an innovation for the collective of humanity to pick up on. So we're always emitting a frequency, and telepathy can be experienced with any human being that we tune in to their radio station. So when we are focusing with love on an individual, the 5D conduit of energy between is reinforced, similarly to a neural pathway in the brain. The more we have repetitive thoughts, the more we reinforce that. Because we're all connected, we can do that initial connection to others. This is where it gets a little bit interesting because, sorry, I'm fighting a cough. Because we can now get into the energetics of consensual telepathy. So if we truly want to have an exchange, reciprocity, there has to be a mutual desire. We can telepathically tune in to other people if we are a clear enough channel and have that discipline honed. We can read energy. Telepathy seems to be more accessible if it's a mutual thing, though it's not required for somebody to trespass and have non-consensual telepathy. These are more advanced energetics, and I personally don't feel that our societies have been at a place where we've been teaching, let's say, children these things, because it's an advancement level that's beyond the normal scope of awareness. They're just usually, we don't chalk it up to coincidences and, wow, you finished my sentence, or I knew you were going to call. There are so many opportunities to catch telepathy in motion, so it's not that mystical to presume that we have it with our twin, that it's legit. It happens, it's part of our energetic makeup as multidimensional beings, but we can get better at it, and you can practice it with your divine counterpart. My divine counterpart and I, for instance, have had 3D conversations about practicing telepathy more deeply, and we've seen the proof of that connection back and forth through texting and messaging to confirm things that we were experiencing. It goes far beyond that, however. So let's see what the divine would say through the cards. How can we recognize telepathic communication from our twin? You know, when you're thinking about your counterpart, it's likely they are thinking about you, or anyone for that matter. So let's see. What is it that we can know about recognizing telepathic communication from our counterpart? Thank you, Divine Creator, for showing us how we can further understand telepathic communication from our counterpart. Ooh, on the floor. What did we get? Okay, Daughter of Swords. So first off, you know, this is a card of curiosity, piquing your curiosity. This is internet spying. This is the curiosity, the energetic tuning in. So, you know, it's like a bell ringing. Suddenly, oh, I'm thinking of my divine counterpart, and I wasn't thinking of them just a moment ago. That's one way that we know. We just pick up on that energy. Wow, when it comes out of nowhere. The Tower is a sudden recognition where you were not thinking prerequisite thoughts that would naturally lend themselves to something about your divine counterpart. I think you're following me, but let's see. And then, yes, you cannot deny that there's something uncanny, concrete about the communication that comes out of nowhere, that piques your curiosity, that makes you think of your counterpart. There's a confirmation inherent in whatever you're picking up on. It's purposeful. It is a match for their frequency, and you didn't initiate it. That it just literally caught your attention, and it was out of nowhere, and within it there was a very believable, or you know, when you catch a joke and you laugh, there's that aha moment in there. That's the kind of thing I'm getting here. So if you're wondering if you're getting telepathy from your twin, it comes out of nowhere, takes you by surprise, piques your curiosity, and has an inherent confirmation that it's an energetic match for your twin's energy. Okay, so how do we utilize that connection? Actually, I'm going to ask one more question. What can the divine say to those watching who just received that message? What would the divine say to twins if you are attempting to communicate to your counterpart? So what can we know about that motion? Fell on the curiosity. Oh, unconditional love. And it fell right on this. So if you send out, like, the unconditional love is a super carrier of crystal clear intention. It cuts through time and space like nothing else I just heard. So interesting. So if you hone your ability to keep an open heart and send genuine, pure frequency, simple, essential, archetypal, pure emotion. This is a cup, so I'm really getting that if you send a heartfelt, pure, sincere energy towards your twin, that's going to be the most recognizable frequency for your twin to pick up on, that it's you. Just as we saw that when our twin is sending telepathic communication our way, that there's something inherent in the message, that there's just no mistaking whose resonance we're reminded of when we feel that. Likewise, if you're sending it out, this is when your twin is going to pick up on it, when it is your heart that's being sent. How lovely. Okay, so how do we utilize this connection? Actually, I'm just going to get an added Starseed Oracle for this. So how to recognize each other. What else might we want to know here, Divine Creator, for telepathic communication in recognizing each other, or believing that we will be recognized when we send something out? Entrance, death, rebirth, and passage. Gate of returning. I'm just feeling that coming and going. Telepathy is no different than a phone call or a text message or a meetup in the physical. It is another communication style that has its ebb and flow, is what I'm getting here. So it's not consistent. It is sovereign to the individual. It follows their frequency. It's not apart from them. Okay, so what can we see for how to utilize the connection? Thank you, Divine Creator, for having created us to utilize telepathic communication. What is this for? What is this best utilized for? Oh, the Judgment card. This is the best mode to clear up misunderstandings, to see the light, to hear the call, to make sense of, to have reconciliation. Isn't that beautiful? I've personally never been given that message, but this is the Judgment Day card. This is the energy that comes in right before the world, before cycles wrap up. So telepathy is best utilized for clearing up things that are confusing or unseen once and for all. This is a very pure connection, a very beautiful tool that transcends the clutter of trying to distill down to the essence. Telepathy is like a surgical frequency that goes to the depths or to the most pure part, because as we saw, its carrier is this unconditional love, the essence of our heart. And so when we are sending telepathic messages to our twin. Now I want to say, because it's a spiritual law that we are multidimensional creatures and we do send telepathic messages to others that aren't our twin, that we can actually utilize it with non-productive intent and malice. People can send things like spell work and all of that. That is essentially on the same frequency as telepathic communication. We can curse others with sending that kind of energy. Our free will allows for those kinds of things to happen. So I do want to clarify that telepathy is not just unconditional love. You can send malice through telepathy as well. And as a side note, this message is how to utilize telepathic communication between twins for the highest of benefit. I am in no way meaning to say that all telepathic communication between twins is of this frequency, and that it can actually repel our twin. If you are newer to the journey and being reckless with your energy and upset at your twin's going to pick up on that vibe. If you're also sending it with that very crystal clear bell ringing sort of, any pure energetic resonance will be read by your twin if you're directing it at them. And others. People can tell your vibe from a mile away, right? Okay, so back to the most beneficial use of this, though, that it is a very good way to work out energetics and misconceptions. It's safe space, so to speak, and it's non-linear. So if you have some spare time, you can tap in, and it kind of, from what I understand, it lays in wait for the time when your twin is also in a similar brainwave frequency, theta maybe, in a meditative state where they can then be receptive to you. It's almost like it just stays there on potential until the twin is in a position to tune in. So it doesn't necessarily happen in real time, although it can. It can very well happen in real time, and it can be, let me just say, like mother's intuition. You can get emergency messages of telepathy between people if a child is in danger and that sort of a thing, or a loved one. So that does happen as well. We do send that beacon out to those we are entangled with or connected to, so to speak, or even courted to. So you can have telepathy with karmic situations as well, and you can have a lot of spiritual warfare type things occurring too. But the divine is saying that Telepathic communication is best used between twins for absolute profound clarity and sorting out things that have not been easy to get to the bottom of verbally or physically. Interesting. So how can we, pardon me, what's the next step after knowing that this is something that we can utilize for greater understanding? What is some more information, Divine Creator, on that subject? So, wow, yeah, it's just the same message. We're getting cutting through confusion, balancing out on a profound level, and when we don't seem to be getting progress in the physical, that is when we can go into telepathic conversations with our counterpart to ask to be shown the connective energy. There's that Ace of Cups highlighted here again. And Temperance, that is the alchemy, the blending, the emotional balance within. So if our emotions are out of balance and we're confused about where our twin is at, it is completely permissible to telepathically ask, and it shall be given the answer towards progress, should we desire to humble ourselves to an alignment where we genuinely seek that level of authentic knowing. Yeah, it's beautiful. I am being drawn to the rainbow antlers in this book, and the rainbow with this card of progress that's in the reverse. So if we need to know something, instead of assume, ask the twin. Ask if your assumptions in the 3D are correct. Ask. This is a good way to clear up misunderstandings towards progress and to be shown the other side of the energy from the twin's perspective. Again, you'll know you're getting your answer if it seems to be not counterintuitive, but if it seems literally to not be the type of thought that you would have expected to have about a given subject. The reason I know that is a prime example of your twin communicating is because we're being shown here that it's a beneficial tool if there is confusion, if maybe we're not in a totally balanced place, if there does seem to be a lack of progress. That's a perfect time to utilize telepathic connection to get that information so that it's not awkward in the physical, or if there's been a separation and it's not possible to talk in the physical, telepathic communication is something that is available as an added tool. Okay, let's get a Starseed card for that, about utilizing telepathy. Joy, playfulness, and pleasure. So it's meant to be a productive, joyful, extra bonus as a spiritual being to come into the lightheartedness that telepathic communication is available. I've seen an image of, I asked the divine what telepathic communication will evolve into, and I actually was shown, like, it's a really weird story, but here's the example. Christmas shopping at other end of a mall from my twin, and we're both looking at Christmas sweaters at different department stores and seeing through each other's eyes and collaborating on style and size from the other end of the mall. Whether I'm a mall shopper or not, it doesn't matter because I'm really not. But at the same time, that was the kind of example I was given when I asked that question. And that's kind of playful. It's novel. So once we get the foundation in telepathic communication, we can develop that, especially when there's conscious mutual investment in growing that skill. It's kind of awesome that twins have that built-in system in place as highly spiritual beings. I mean, we all do, but it is a spiritual gift. So it comes on board more profoundly when we utilize our faith in the unseen dimensions and when we establish confidence in it. And with a twin, we have that beautiful gift of having the ability to really focus on that heightened way of communicating mutually consciously. between the two? Okay, so does our twin experience telepathic communication in the 5D or the 3D? I think various, depending on where you're at in the journey together. So it depends on whether they're experiencing love or fear. This is the card of the crossroads. So if they can block it. So let's just say that it can be blocked, just like you can block on social media or block a text, you can block telepathy. If you know somebody is trying to engage with you telepathically and you don't want that, you can block it. So if your twin has been scared by the telepathic communication, if that's out of their developmental stage or comfort zone, or they don't want you invading their privacy, they can definitely block in the 3D. The 5D is union consciousness. It's always there. So telepathy with everyone's higher self is always available. It does not mean that the 3D person is going to be picking up on things, or you can do some kind of crazy voodoo to the 3D person if you're sending non-loving things, for example, or manipulative things, or spiritual attacks. I mean, things can be felt telepathically in the 3D and not have a direct association with the twin. But if someone's aware of you sending telepathic engagement towards them, they can certainly block you that way. Just as real as any other style. Anything else we need to know about it? Yeah, that there's always love between twins, and even if the telepathic communication isn't there, that there is the unity field, the love field, by which a higher self will always benefit from truly pure, loving blessings and well wishes and support sent that way. It may not always be beneficial for the sender to send that loving, consistent stream, because that can deplete if there's not reciprocity and it's not coming from a completely unconditional place. You can actually deplete your own energy by overdoing that. Wow, awesome reading. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to upload this and do the daily divine masculine reading on another video, because it's getting a little bit lengthy here. And how amazing. Wonderful. Thanks for your questions, everyone. Keep popping those over at the community board if you so choose. I like them. Bye for now.